This is like bucket list, dream come true for me to have a screening here with Star Wars fans, with Goldbergs fans. So this episode we're screening is called A Wrestler Named Goldberg, and it's a really special episode because it combines my two greatest loves growing up, Star Wars and WWF Pro Wrestling. So that was a good pitch to the network. Like, we're just gonna totally geek out. You're not gonna understand any of the references, but there will be a theater of people at some point that will like this, I promise. So yeah, I guess we're gonna screen it, and then afterwards the cast is here as well. We're gonna do some Q&A, and honestly, thank you all for coming. This airs tomorrow night, so it's a sneak preview.
Read about it, tell your friends about it. We're something we're really proud of, and I think as Star Wars fans, you guys will all love this.
All right, here we go.
That was the episode. Sean, or Yoda.
And special thanks to all the 501st members who have, now this is the second show I've done where they've provided awesome costumes. In the video of me wrestling at the end, if you notice, I'm wearing a different outfit in every shot. So that was like hours of footage, and I'm glad. At the time, my dad yelled at me, but I'm glad it could come to use to be on national television. So I wanted to introduce the cast. They're all here. They're just when you write a script, you know, you have no idea how it's going to turn out, and every time and again, all season long, just everything we've given them, they've just elevated. Unfortunately, Troy, who plays Barry, isn't here tonight, but we have everybody else. So can I introduce in any order I want? Let's start with Let's start with TV Adam. Sean, come on out. I don't know where you. This is TV. So true. Next, please sit. TV's Erica, Hayley. I love the moment at the end where she looks over at him and they're watching that movie. This episode, I thought of the idea because of the time when I saw Return of the Jedi at the highway, which was in this episode, and my siblings took me, and it was like one of the most magical days of my life. So it was I just love watching that moment where they're sitting together and he says thank you, which is awesome. Makes me tear up every time. Is that lame? Maybe.
No. Not at all.
Next, my TV mom, Beverly. Wendi McLendon-Covey. The best part of editing this episode was watching the dailies where she wrestles Troy. I wish I had 40 minutes because I put it all in. She really kicked his ass. It was pretty amazing. I did. And then finally, my TV dad, Murray Goldberg, Jeff Garlin, everybody. And also joining us up here.
Hold on one second.
Oh, sure, Jeff.
We used to date. What are you doing?
Also, I'd like to invite up Doug Robinson. I don't know where you went off to.
Doug Robinson.
Come on up. He's a producer. He works at Happy Madison. This is the man who saw my home videos and said this would be a television show one day. group yet, a Q&A with the audience, straight up. You can ask us anything you'd like. And am I just going to pass around the mic? How does this usually work? I'm going to
facilitate.
Okay, I'm going to facilitate.
If you want.
You can ask us anything you like. Any questions from the audience?
Start with her.
Okay.
You should repeat it for the people.
The question is my mom really like that? And has Wendy ever met my mom? You go first.
I didn't meet his mom until November, and we started in August.
I kept them separate on purpose.
Yeah. And we've toned her down a lot. Yes, she sent me boxes and boxes of her clothes, her sweaters, and a lot of the stuff I wear.
Yeah, the answer is yes, she's like that. In reality, she's a lot worse. I've had to tone her down to make this belong on ABC, the Disney Channel.
No one would believe it.
Yes, no one would believe it, but yes, she's. Did she wrestle us? No, but one time she didn't want us. She didn't want Barry to leave, so she jumped on his car and he drove down the driveway with her on the front of the car, and she ripped off his antenna. And then Barry, who's identical to the character, got angry and then ran over to her car and ripped off her antenna. And then they sat there kicking each other.
Exactly the way Troy plays him.
Yes.
Right?
Barry is closest to my brother, when he was out visiting, complained to me about how I make him run and this and that, and then in the same conversation said if he had tried, he could have been an NFL quarterback. But my mom stood in his way, didn't want to play football, so he didn't want to do it. So, yeah, I'm like, are you listening to yourself? You're literally Barry.
Next. The wrestling guy.
In this episode, we watched your character, Gentleman plays your character, tear up a Star Wars poster. Did you actually do that as a child?
My dream was to have that poster. I vividly remember seeing it at I think at the movie theater, and then I was like, why did they change the title? It was just one of those things. So when we were doing the set, I got to just have a lot of those posters I had as a kid, Time Bandits and The Goonies, and so I literally had them get all the posters from the kid, and then I wanted my dream poster, which was the Revenge of the Jedi poster, and it is not an original. They basically did like a dupe because I refused to let them rip it up. So they got like an image off the internet, and then they enlarged it and tore it up because I couldn't live with myself if they shredded that poster. So don't worry.
One of the comments I want to make regarding the show that I love the best about it is the fact that I have a 16-year-old daughter, and we watch the show religiously, and we both laugh just as hard at the same time, because at the same time I'm getting it because of the humor of what I grew up with, and she's getting it because of what it relates to in real life. And half the time we always say, you know, you're lucky you could have a mother like that. I just want to thank you for being able to bridge that to where everybody who's watching it really gets it, because I love it just for the humor, because it's like watching me and having seen a lot of those things, that, you know, having siblings and children and your parents and family, and just the whole dysfunctional thing that it brings, to have them realize that, hey, no matter what generation we all go through.
One of my favorite things is when Doug's daughter gets in a fight with his wife and says, "You're Beverly Goldberg!" That just makes me so proud. That it's become like a name for when a mom is like being overbearing or unreasonable. That's what kids scream at their parents now.
I love torturing Adam with this also sometimes. A fan made us these fantastic Beverly Goldberg dolls. And
Crocheted the dolls. She crocheted the dolls.
They're amazing. But I love torturing Adam because the Beverly Goldberg on TV that's sweet and nice is somewhat of a toned down version of his mother, and I keep telling him, you've immortalized your mother. So I sent him a picture of my daughter sleeping at night with this Beverly Goldberg doll, and it makes him crazy.
Yeah, it's basically validated all of her behavior, which is kind of a nightmare.
Did you have like when you were growing up, was Wonder Years one of your big shows? Because it just watching this just brings back Wonder Years.
I mean I pitched it Wonder Years in the '80s with my family. I showed the videos. It was. Did anyone else fans of the Wonder Years? Did you guys watch it?
Yeah, I loved it.
I mean, it was again that was something I watched with my parents. I was the same age as Kevin Arnold was. And when I was in 7th grade, he was in 7th grade, and it's really cool to hear that like parents and their kids watch it in the same way that I watch the Wonder Years. So really, that's exactly what I wanted.
So for the younger cast members who weren't alive when Return to Get Out was around, what did the rest of the team do to impress upon you what an important event?
Well, for me, the writing, I mean, it really just brings you in, and not to mention, like, every day on set, just the set design, and in the script, they refer to so many different, like, toys and the fashion. It's so easy to get into the mindset of the 80s, and even though people say, like, oh, leave it in the 80s, actually, some of it's really cool, and so it's really fun to be on set.
Oh, well, I'm a fan of Star Wars, so I was kind of envisioning how it would be actually being there. So it was kind of cool, and then of course, the writing just kind of brought you in, and the tauntaun.
That's my tauntaun, by the way, which is an excuse for me to use my tauntaun. It was not there when I saw Return of the Jedi. FYI. It was in my garage, and I wanted to use it. There was.
So, when you're doing the show, do you ever have laughing outbursts just like thinking about how funny your part is?
All the time.
Yeah, the great question is, do the actors ever just burst out laughing because it's funny?
Yeah, all the time. I remember it during the pilot. I held up production for about 20 minutes to say something. Can I say it? Here it comes. I was talking about Barry, and I'm supposed to say that he crapped his pants. But I guess in the Goldberg family, they used to say, I had a fart that fooled me. And that set me off, and I cried my makeup off. So that's just one thing. And then this one over here always has a running commentary. So yeah, when it gets to be the late hours, and of course we should really be on our game, we get real punchy, and then the giggles start, and then we can't, and then, yeah, we go into overtime.
I look at it as I have a few purposes. One is to tell Adam stories, and another is to make them laugh. And that's all I want to do is make them laugh, so I surprise them in every scene with something that is not supposed to be there. And I make Sean say things into the camera that they're not expecting.
And he always does it. He's such a good sport.
Oh yeah, Sean always does it with enthusiasm, commitment. And he doesn't say, Jeff made me, he just does it. He's a badass. So, yeah, we laugh and have a good time. And sometimes when I'm home alone, sitting in my bed, staring at the ceiling, I burst out laughing because I'm just so damn funny. I can't believe it. I'm like, how did that happen? Wow!
When we were editing the finale, Troy throws a party, Barry throws a party, and he's dancing, and there's just endless hours of footage of Troy dancing around and doing all these 80s dance moves. And it was, Doug and I were in the editing room, we were just like, oh, just exhausting, it was taking forever. And then in one random shot, Jeff just jumps in shirtless in a room full of extras. And that was for our benefit, Doug and I, which we appreciated.
Yeah.
It gave us the juice to finish that night. So
I'm sure some of those young teenage extras were thrilled to see me without my shirt. I think that was.
By the way, the editors are cutting together a reel of Sean's random.
Oh, are they?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, my favorite is I'm a Japanese girl.
With enthusiasm, and he is a little Japanese girl.
Is that going to be on the DVD extras?
That would be really good for the DVD extras.
Somebody would have to sign off on it. Sean. Yeah, that would be good for the extra. Oh, this fella.
Speaking of Sean, I'm curious, like, how is your interaction with him like before you guys shoot a scene? I mean, do you guys like sit together and watch like a video of what you shot years ago or decades ago?
Sean's just so good that he just kind of does it, and I'm usually in the room writing and stuff. But I think my home movies. I think the one thing Sean really wanted to do was get my goofy, like, Woody Woodpecker laugh. I remember that was something you were, like, in the beginning, like, I want to do your laugh. I'm like, please don't. That, like, people tease me my whole life. Let's just keep that in my videos. But no, I mean, look, I write this stuff, and just Sean every time just kills it. So at this point, we're going into season 2. Like, there's just. At this point, it's like he's me. So there's nothing for me to tell him. He knows exactly what to do.
Yeah, he's pretty instinctual. He learns his lines and he's just becomes you. There's no prep except for me to tell him stupid things to say.
And once again, you just said season 2, so I guess it's safe to say.
We start on Friday, so I think
that fella right there.
So going into the episode, as far as the actors, were you guys already like pretty big Star Wars fans, or did you have to do some research to kind of like understand like the way you should react to it or whatever?
Can I just let you know a couple things? First off, I'm a human being in the United States of America. I don't want to watch Star Wars. I hate it's there, and you either dig it or you don't. I dig it, And then as far as research, I'm sorry to do this. We learn our lines and don't bump into the furniture. We don't do the research behind, because if it says Erica's embarrassed about Star Wars, she actually doesn't even know what Star Wars is. She just pretends it's something she's embarrassed about. There is no prep. Did you do any prep? Be honest. No.
I've seen it, though.
But that's the thing. It's like, because the truth is, these are very intelligent people, but I'm going to let you in on a secret. You can be dumb as a rock and be a great actor. You can. Some of these great actors are so stupid, you have no idea. Okay. I'm not going to name them.
Name names.
No.
Name names.
But some very famous ones who've won and been nominated for Academy Awards. That's all I'm saying. Now, what's that? Stop it. If, as an actor, you think about something too much, it's going to affect your performance and you're not going to be good. You just need to know your lines and don't bump into the furniture. And if the writing's good, it's all going to work out. The writing's bad. Only an actor as good as Sean Penn is good enough to rise above bad material. Like, there's very few actors that are that great that if you give them a shitty script, they're still going to be good. Even if he's in a bad movie, he's going to be Sean Penn and be great. But there's few and far between. Most actors rely upon really good scripts. We're lucky we get great scripts delivered to us every week. So all we have to do is learn the script. That's it. And then I'm looking across at them, so it's not hard to imagine they're my family and just, I forgot what the question was.
Didn't watch Star Wars before the show.
Well, yes, I did. I watched Star Wars before the show, but not in preparation. I watched them when they came out. Yeah.
A couple questions for Sean.
Sean!
What's your favorite Star Wars movie, and what movies out there today inspire you like Star Wars inspired Adam?
Okay. I have to say, my favorite Star Wars would be The Empire Strikes Back.
People don't consider that one the best. That was a risk, Sean. I'm kidding him. I love him so much.
It was overall just a great movie. Star Wars.
Like, what's your favorite movies going on now? I know how long this can take.
Bridesmaids.
Actually,
No, you shouldn't say that.
It's a
He's
fun,
too young to
excellent
have seen
movie.
that.
Also, there's a diarrhea scene. Who cares?
Go on, Sean. Answer the
That
question.
would be an inspiration to me.
I didn't see Bridesmaids.
Answer the question honestly.
What's your favorite sort of action-y, science fiction-y type of thing, Wally?
Jeff was in Wally. That's why he said Wally.
I was the captain with Wally.
He's hysterical.
This young man's going places.
Like, what's your favorite superhero movie that's been out?
Superhero, probably Batman.
Yeah, recent ones, yeah, those are good. By the way, if you haven't seen the new Spider-Man, don't. It's horrible. It's horrible to me. Oh, stop it. See, I read comic books. I collect comic books. I love comic books.
You do know this is a Sony show.
Please go see it. This is the studio that produces my show. I love it. I love it. I can't tell you, to be honest, the new Spider-Man, oh, it's so good. It was so good. It made me forget X2. I just can't. It's a piece of crap. Don't save yourself. Here's what you do. Here's what you do, because I do love Sony, and I get discounts on cameras. Here's what you do. Buy a ticket, and then leave. Because you'll save yourself time, energy, disappointment. And let me also say this about the new Spider-Man movie. They made the movie they wanted to. They knew they were making a sucky movie. They don't care. I'm so, why do I have a loose cannon? I told you. Do you want to come do commentary for the Goldbergs next week? I'm like, you're asking me? What? I said, what good can come of this? Positive spin. You know, see, all right, there you go.
Next question, please.
For you, for a guy that grew up with the original version of Star Wars, what are your views on the changes they made in the movie?
Oh. Did Han shoot first?
Well, I wrote with a writer named Ernie Klein, the movie Fanboys. And the point of that movie was you keep the flaws and the puppets. And I think, look, I make episodes every week. It's like frantic and furious, and of course you look at a scene and you go, I wish I could do that differently and reshoot it again. But my feeling is once it's done, it's done. And I love that there was new Star Wars movies out in the theater and I can go see it and relive my childhood. But it like every time there would be a CG creature in the background, a bantha added in or something, I just go, why? Why do
By
it?
the way, I have the same feeling on Spider-Man 2. And all the creatures, I say, why? I love Spider-Man.
So that's my answer. That's my answer. Keep the floss. That's my answer. Yes.
That little fella.
With a hat. With a hat.
Oh, okay.
Do you have kids, and are you gonna wait in line with them for the next Star Wars movie? No?
Me? I can't wait. My son will probably still be a little too young, but it does not matter. I'm going to force him to go. It's going to be the greatest day of my life. It really will be.
J.J. Abrams is one of my best pals, and I'm going to London this summer to watch. Oh. I can't say what I was going to say.
No, say it.
No, I can't, because I was going to make never mind. I was going to say how you can earn a trip. But, with Pop-Tarts. No, but I'll be there, and I'll be sure to Twitter everything I see. I'll lose a friendship for sure. Yeah. There's a little guy.
Is it kind of weird to see yourself on TV?
He said, is it kind of weird to see yourself on TV? Doug, you take that.
Yes. I mean, look, I'm a writer. I just want to sit in a room and write scripts. I never intended... When I wrote this show initially, they were the Silvers. Did you guys know that? They were the Silvers.
That's not as good.
They were the Silvers. Different title called How the F Am I Normal? And it was really the president of ABC that was like, we're showing your videos. This is the Goldbergs. This is... We never plan on showing those videos too. It was just like a sales tool. So this was never my plan to do this. But I think the fact that it is real, that's maybe something that people relate to. So I really kind of credit Paul Lee, the president of ABC, who like saw the vision for the show and was like, "This is your story, and your story isn't like that out. It's just like a lot of people's story, and that's what will make a good family show." So it's bizarre. It's bizarre.
It was weird watching Spider-Man 2. The actors in that was an unsettling experience. It wasn't called Spider-Man 2, it was actually called The Silvers.
Silver Surfer. Guy in the way back with a hat.
When did you have like your aha moment? Like I remember when you did Breaking In, you had a lot of Star Wars references. Obviously a lot in this, even before this episode. When did that occur to you in your childhood that this was important?
I think it was when we rented, and we kind of did this episode about this. We rented Star Wars, and then we forgot about it, and my dad owed like $180, so he was like, "Screw it, I'm just going to keep it." So I actually had a copy. And it was probably like on the 20th time that I watched it and I still loved it that I realized, oh wait, this is like my thing. Yeah, I mean, it's not an experience. I mean, everyone in this room probably had that experience. I mean, it was just, there was nothing like it. And
I felt that way about Modern Romance, the Albert Brooks movie. I'm not kidding. So, like, around the same time, I was like, what? Why is no one talking about this? And then, of course, Spider-Man 2.
Speaking of Spider-Man 2, how prevalent was the camera when you were growing up? Was it always? Were you always?
Always. I mean, I always would like schlep around hundreds of tapes from apartment to apartment. Yeah, I just always had this camera. My siblings were older. They were 7 and 9 years older than me. So they didn't really pay attention to me. And the only way they would was like to beat me up and stuff. So I was always kind of this like silent, weird, nerdy observer. And every tape has some awesome meltdown with Barry and my mom and my dad. And yeah,
so... Wait a second, hold on. I have an idea for a movie. The silent, weird, nerdy observer. He doesn't say much. He's weird.
This is how it happens.
He's nerdy, and he observes things. That's all.
He also was bitten by a spider, a radioactive spider. Yeah, tons of tapes, all the family dysfunction on everyone. It's delightful to watch.
When can we buy those?
Never. I'll have to. I have hopefully hundreds of episodes to do, so I gotta just piece it out.
We have time for one more question.
The opening scene of Spider-Man 2.
How do you get the props for most of your episodes?
How are the props?
They're my toys.
Yeah, no question, and that's the true answer.
Yeah, they're like I kept all my stuff, and my mom sent it out in boxes. No, what happened was all my Transformers, GI Joes, all of that stuff I still collect, and I gave it to them, and then I got upset and nervous because like idiots were breaking it all, and someone broke my Megatron, and so they started replacing it because they saw I was getting all angry.
Listen, he's being modest. Like he obsesses over these toys. Like there are days I'll go, Adam, that last scene was night and now it's day all of a sudden, and I was like, yeah, but you don't understand. he'll go through Adam's room on set, and he will go from toy to toy to toy, put them in chronological order, make sure that they're exactly the way they are. And it's like, is Adam writing today? No, he's playing with the toys in Adam's room. Hours. Endless.
Spider-Man 2, that's what I have to say. I gave them the Ethernet cable to use in the airplane scene for the wireless that hadn't been invented yet.
Yeah.
I said, here, use this will make a lot of sense for the opening scene. You can plug in the Ethernet on the airplane, which is attached to the wireless, which works. Remember?
This is a day in the life of working with
So I've had the pleasure of doing 2 shows with Adam now. We've done this show, the Goldbergs, and Breaking In. And to say I know now far more about Star Wars than I ever knew before, because it's constant research that you have to do. And his love for Star Wars is what got us all here today. And there's some people who want to come up and say thank you to Adam for everything he's done and for his love for Star Wars.
Thank you, sir. My name is Sean, Sean Crosby. And this is the 3rd project I've been really privileged to work on that has had Adam Goldberg's stamp on it. The first one was Fanboys. The second one, I got to be a very short stormtrooper in Breaking In. And this last one, I got to have 2 really amazing days on the set being abused by Hayley and hanging out with Sean Solo, which is what we dubbed him after his costume. So that has actually been really, really great. And despite the fact that I'm now forever embarrassed in the show, I am here to return that favor. So our folks here, we have a little something